Welcome to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is Gab, and I'm here with my cousin and co-host
Dylan.
And today we are discussing a Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is Gab, and I'm here with my cousin and co-host
Dylan.
And today we are discussing a Movie to Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is Gab, and I'm here with my cousin and co-host
Dylan. I don't like this.
And today we are discussing a movie that I have chosen as one to watch before you die. I have nominated this film. I am so excited to talk about it. Dylan watched it for the first time, and that movie is, you guessed it, Groundhog Day.
I totally get the bit now, but at first I thought you were just like taking it from the top because you thought you messed up or something, and I was so freaked out. I was like, oh no, what's
I've
happening?
been planning that all day.
Oh my god, okay.
Ooh, Dylan, tell the people what this movie is about, you son of a bitch.
What's this all been about? What am I working toward?
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to.
Gab, it's Dylan, your cousin. I wanted to have that Ned Ryerson energy. All right, Groundhog Day is about Phil Connors, who is a weatherman. He hates his job. He hates everyone else in the world, and for reasons unknown, he gets trapped on February 2nd, Groundhog Day, for what must be a near eternity, while he tries to better himself and better his life.
Yeah, basically. So let me ask you a question. You had never seen this movie.
Nope. I knew the general concept of what it was about, and I think I've definitely seen the scene of him punching Ned Ryerson in the face.
Oh, okay.
That was all I'd seen.
I was going to say, you surely have heard people refer to something as Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I've watched enough movie stuff to know of the movie and know generally what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. IMDb?
The IMDb plot summary: a narcissistic, self-centered weatherman finds himself in a time loop on Groundhog Day.
Okay, yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Taglines.
What would you do if you were stuck in the same day over and over? Anything you want and everything your heart desires. Not bad, just it's long.
It also just like kind of gives the wrong impression because it's not like he's like a kid in a candy store, you know what I mean? He's like not happy.
Well, I think we'll get into it more, but he is at times happy. He sort of goes through the gamut of emotions. He's stuck so long.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
The second tagline, the second and third are similar. He's having the worst day of his life over and over.
Love that.
And then he's having the day of his life over and over again.
No.
I think now, this isn't like a whole segment we do or anything, but this week I felt like the tagline was obvious and it's sort of alluded to in the movie. It should just be Phil Connors is having a very long day.
Oh, yeah, that's way better.
Yeah.
100 points. 100 points.
Thank you. So,
yeah.
100 points to Gavin Daw.
Yes. Thank you very much. I will take those points. Okay, so I feel like we don't really need to expand upon this too much because it is such a like pop culture cornerstone, right? Phil Connors is a miserable prick. He every year gets sent to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania from his location in Pittsburgh to report on Groundhog Day. He hates how jolly the people are. He hates how excited they get. He does kind of a bullshit job of delivering like a smug news report from there and then winds up reliving the day over and over and over again. And he does run the gamut of emotions where he is angry. He winds up trying to kill himself. He is mean to people. He starts like learning things about people to use it against them as he relives the same day over and over again. And eventually he sort of, I think, realizes that he's being a piece of shit and starts to get to know people better and eventually falls in love.
Accurate.
Okay. So, shall we make it official?
Let's do it.
In this critic's opinion,
that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion.
All right, it's opinion time, so there are going to be spoilers coming up, so if you haven't seen Groundhog Day, go watch it and come back. It was a little hard to find for me streaming-wise. Where did you watch it?
So we got a subscription to Showtime because they have Orphan Black on there and we started watching Orphan Black. So it just happened to be on Showtime.
Orphan Black from the creators of A Christmas Horror Story?
The very one.
I used, my good old VPN and was watching from like Netflix Poland.
Oh my God.
Hey, use that technology to your advantage.
Yeah.
God, I don't remember. Oh, very quickly, I have two brief weatherman stories
Okay, please tell.
because I used to work in news. I worked for News 12 for a little bit.
Oh my God. You're famous.
I couldn't be further. But first, um, you may not realize this, but weathermen can be incredibly short because I remember meeting the guy who did News 12 weather almost every day when I was younger. And I was like, holy crap, you're 4 feet tall. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's never like they always frame the camera so that the person's like the same height no matter when you see them. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden you realize you're like, first of all, he's standing on a box. Second of all, when he comes off that box, he looks like a garden gnome. Like you're like, what in the world? The second is, what's very impressive on camera and not very impressive off camera?
What?
Hair in a can.
Excuse me?
Oh, there was a weatherman for News 12 who like very, very clearly used hair in a can. And you couldn't tell when you're just watching him. But when you see him in the building, you're like, oh, so that's what that is.
Older gentleman?
No, not that much older. Like
Okay.
he's less old than the guy who I said looked like a garden gnome.
Okay. So the older guy,
Mhm.
I don't know his name. One time I was picking up a pizza at our local pizzeria, and this other guy at the pizzeria was like, holy shit, that's the weatherman from News 12, as if like News 12 is CNN. Like it is literally Long Island local news. And the guy was like starstruck. And I was like, surely you've seen Billy Joel at some point, right? Like you're freaking out over the fucking weatherman? Okay.
I get it. It's exciting because it's like, oh my God, I see you on TV like every day. Because at most news places, I feel not most news, but most workplaces have, your local news station playing or something like that a
Yeah,
lot of the
yeah.
time. So it makes sense. But it was just like, oh, and a lot of people in news are dicks. So it's not surprising that Phil Connors is such a dick.
Yeah.
One more thing that it doesn't affect the movie, but having worked in news, the producer would not be there with them. Like the producer wouldn't go out on the stories with Phil and the cameraman. It would just be Phil and the cameraman.
Really.
Yeah, that would kind of ruin the movie unless he falls in love with the cameraman, Larry. But that's a
Which
different Groundhog Day.
I don't hate that plot.
More like
Okay.
Groundhog Gay.
Oh man, I'm taking
I'd watch
points
it.
away from you for that. That's like when they make those like porn parody movies.
Oh, that used to be my favorite thing, coming up with the porn parody titles.
Oh man, that could be a new segment. And we have our first one. So well done.
Yes.
How about this? I don't think this belongs at opinion time. This probably should wait for the facts, but I can't wait any longer. Did you notice the Freaky Friday reunion?
Willie Garson.
Yep.
Oh my God, who else in that scene was in Freaky Friday?
I think Ned Ryerson is the English
Oh, he's
teacher.
the teacher, Stephen Tobolowsky, who is
Yeah.
like the character actor of all character actors. And I'm glad that he gets a meaty role in this movie.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
I also found out from watching behind the scenes stuff that the last scene with Ned Ryerson in this movie, where he's talking about all the insurance that was bought by Phil, he wrote it. He was
Oh.
like, they asked me to come back. They wanted to do one more scene with Ned, they said, but they didn't have anything written. And apparently Bill Murray was like, as far as I'm concerned, you're just here to eat craft services for the next week. And he was like, I was just sitting there. So I finally wrote something myself. And they were like, Steven, we should try and do something with you. And he was like, I wrote something. And they're like, sure, let's shoot this.
Wow, that's nice. Very nice. Okay. I guess I'll start. Is that cool?
Yeah, we're in it.
Okay.
It's happening
I
now.
love this movie. There are a lot of movies from this time period that are classic that I enjoy, but few make me laugh out loud the way that this movie does. So, for example, anything with Ned Ryerson, very funny. Bill Murray has such a great I'm a miserable prick energy all the time, and it just shines so brightly in this movie. There are so many good quotes. Like my dad says all the time, "Is it too early for flapjacks?" Which is such a great line when he's pulled over by the cops and he's talking to them as if he's at the drive-through window. It is so funny. I am filibustering because I'm scared. So you say something.
Well, I have plenty of opinions, but you never know, Gab. We could wait until the verdicts for me to hammer you, you know. You never
That's
know.
true. So just say something. Give me one.
Um, I did find it really interesting from a screenwriting perspective because there are so many of these movies now, time loop movies, which I feel like it's become its own cliche by this point. So the one that I feel like I've seen before that came to my mind immediately is Happy Death Day. You never saw
Never heard
it?
of it.
So it's a horror movie where she's trying to figure out who the killer is. She keeps dying over and over again, and then she comes back.
Okay.
Um, the only thing that I was surprised by in this movie was, unlike some other movies with this concept, there is never an explanation of how he gets into it or how he gets out of it.
Yeah, we were talking about that today. Corey was like saying something along the lines of like, so we never found out why this happened.
Yeah, I don't know if I love that. Apparently, there was like in the initial early screenwriting stage, and this might be wrong because I feel like when I watched the screenwriter talk about it, he didn't say that this was true. Because in the original script, we just start in the middle of the movie. Like you don't start out with Phil seeing him get into the time loop. He's already in it when the movie started.
Interesting.
But apparently it's like him being cursed by like a former lover or something, which sounds really like eh. But that's
Yeah.
why in every one of these movies that it's like sometimes you just need an explanation, you know what I mean? And you hope that the rest of the movie rises above whatever the explanation is.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the movie Totally Killer that I watched on Amazon. Really fun movie where the girl goes back in time to stop, you know, her mom and like three other girls from getting killed. But how she goes back in time is just like her friend is like, I happen to have been working on a time machine. And you're like, well, that's really stupid, but I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, in this time period, in like the 80s and whatnot, and into the 90s as well, there were so many movies that were just movies. It was just a story. There was no need for like a huge explanation. They just did their thing and it was cute and silly and you kind of just bought in. Nowadays, I feel like everything needs to have like an airtight plot, and I just don't feel like that was a thing back then, you know?
Well, nowadays the internet would call it a plot hole, or Groundhog Day would come out, be 2 hours and 20 minutes, so that we can have an extra 40 minutes where there is a reason given or something. And you know what? I'm much happier with the fact that this movie's an hour and 40 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I don't need that explanation because you're not into the movie to see the mechanics of how he gets in and how he gets out. You're here to laugh at him being in the time loop. And what's interesting is people put a lot of like religious connection into this movie that I didn't realize.
Really?
Yes, because people are like, oh my God, this is, the concept of purgatory and earning your way out of purgatory. And
Everything is
there's
purgatory.
actual life is purgatory. There was somebody, I think Harold Ramis, who directed the movie, was a
Yep.
practicing Buddhist. And apparently there are people who have made connections that like this is Buddhist reincarnation and purifying your soul through reincarnation or something like that. Um, More than anything, have you ever heard of there's a screenwriting concept called Save the Cat?
No.
So the easiest way to make us like a character is to have them, the first thing we see is that they save a cat out of a tree or something like that. And it's like, oh, look, it's a nice guy. You know what I mean? It's a very simple concept for us to like a character. And I do like that we get that with Phil Connors in like the last scene. Like
Yeah.
the last time we're seeing him, it's like he's helping old ladies get their tire fixed and he's saving a kid out of a tree, which I don't feel like I laughed out loud a lot in the movie, but one line that really made me laugh is him going, "You've never thanked me once," to the kid after he saves him from falling out of a tree.
Yeah. And what about did the homeless guy touch you when every day he tries to save the homeless man from dying?
Um, a little bit. It was sort of, I felt like it got cut off a little bit because the last time that he's literally giving him, mouth to mouth in the middle of the street, it made it seem like he was going to say something with like his dying breath and he doesn't. And I was like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
That wasn't bad or anything. It was just like not not very much explored because it seemed like if he at one point is thinking himself a god, that maybe that could very much be a mission of his to try and stop this man's death. And it's like we see him do it twice, I think. And I was like, I could kind of lose that.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess.
did you notice baby-faced Michael Shannon in this movie?
Yeah, yeah.
I only noticed it the last time we see him and he's talking about like WrestleMania tickets because all of a sudden it was just the way that he enunciated something that I was like, that's Michael Shannon. And I had to go to I was like, pause. I'm going to IMDb and I'm looking this up and I was like, it is. Oh my God. a child in this movie practically.
Yeah. Corey recognized him. That's the only reason that I knew.
Do you know who
Um,
the actress is? His wife, Debbie.
no.
That is, she's a voice actress named Hendon Walsh, who you might know if you ever watched Teen Titans growing up. She was Starfire, and she's still Starfire in Teen Titans Go. So that's been going on for like
Interesting.
400 episodes or something.
I
But
love Teen Titans Go. Matt and I used to watch that.
she also happened to be in Jerry Maguire. She was one of the women in the Divorcees group.
Wow, interesting.
It's a small world, Gab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines is when he's taking piano lessons and she goes, "Are you sure you've never taken a lesson before?" And he goes, "No, not one, but my father was a piano mover."
I had that written down too.
So good.
Oh, can we talk about it at the beginning? Didn't seeing Willie Garson with hair feel strange?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Very uncomfy.
He's one of those guys. It's rare, but he's better bald.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Willie Garson.
Yeah, very
Too
sad.
soon. He's great. I another line I really like. Ned Ryerson going, "What are you doing for dinner?" And Phil just goes, "Something else."
Yes. We were literally like, how often do you want to say that to somebody? Like something else.
We all have our inner Phil Connors who is like, "Fuck you," like,
Yeah.
but normally we don't use that.
Yeah.
Again, the first time too that they get stopped, you can go back to Punxsutawney or you can freeze to death. It's your choice. What's it gonna be? And he's standing there and he goes, "I'm thinking."
I love Ned. I would love to stay here and talk with you, but I'm not going to.
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster? I don't think so, but I'll check with the kitchen.
uh, uh, did you sleep well, Mr. Connors? I slept alone.
Um, that was another line I liked when he's leaving the bed and breakfast, and it's, "Is there a chance you're checking out today?" And the first time he goes, 100% chance of departure. And then once he realizes what's going on, he goes, 70 to 80% chance of departure. Like, I did like that. I like the fact that it does get a little dark with the concept of the time loop too. That at one point he's like, "I keep trying to kill myself."
Yeah.
You're not a Final Destination fan, are you?
No.
So we're never going to get into this movie, but there's the movie The Final Destination. And do you know the general concept of what they're about?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, you have to die in the order death wanted you to die. If in this movie, it's if you kill someone else, they'll take your place in death's plan or something.
Mhm.
But it's the guy who played Bubba in Forrest Gump is in the movie. And they walk into his apartment because they're trying to tell him something. And they find him hanging from the fan in a noose. And all of a sudden, like, he starts moving and falls down. And they're like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I was trying to kill myself. I've been trying to kill myself all goddamn day." Like, he's like, "I had a gun to my head, 6 planks." And like, it's like, you can't go out of death's order if that doesn't feel like it. So he just couldn't die. He was like, "I took a bunch of pills, threw him up." And I'm like, I would have loved to have seen that guy's whole day where he's like, "Maybe this will be it." Like,
Oh my God. That's kind of what Phil goes through a little bit, just over the course of many days.
he says something to Rita like, "I've killed myself so many times, I practically don't exist anymore," or something.
Yeah.
It is interesting the way that your view of the situation can change over, he's doing this whoever knows how many times, that he goes from confusion to, frustrated to "I'm a god" to "I'm gonna kill myself" to back to, "Screw me, I'll help everyone else out."
Hmm.
I do like by the end he's like, "I will create a perfect day for this town."
Yeah.
I think it does a really good job because Bill Murray is such a believable dickhead.
Yes.
Because that's the vibe I constantly get from Bill Murray. I feel like he's a total dickhead.
Yeah.
Uh,
But we love it for some reason. Like people love it. And you
there are
hear those
people, yeah,
stories about him.
there are people who love him, and I'm not a big fan of his,
I know.
but it worked for the character. And apparently, like, he would sign autographs for people, and I'm, I'm reading about this, except if it was Friday, and people would come up to him, and he would go, "I'm so sorry, I don't sign autographs on Fridays." And people, like, I think it was Andy McDowell who plays Rita, was like, and people just took it like it was like there was a reason for it. It was no, he just went, "I don't sign autographs on Fridays," and they're like, "Oh, okay."
I love that. I don't know. There's something charming about him being such a dickhead. My friend Scott is like that, where it's like it out of context, it's like you're so rude, but in context, it's like I think you're just trying to push the limits, and it's kind of funny because I know deep down you don't mean it, you know?
I did also, I knew that he and Rita are going to end up together. Like, not, I had seen that before, but it's like, you've seen a movie before.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
sort of, you get the gist of that's how that's going, except in our version where he's going to end up with Larry the cameraman. But,
Right, of course.
um, when he's first trying to woo Rita with this perfect day, and he's doing this perfect day over and over again, like he's trying to go back and nail things that he did before, or he's trying to remember like no fudge or whatever it is, no white chocolate. At first I was like really skeeved out, and I'm like,
I knew you were gonna be. I
yeah,
knew
I
it.
was
I
like,
said,
this
I
is
said,
fucked
Dylan is
up.
not gonna like this. Yep.
And then when you realize that that doesn't work, I was like, oh, like I was so pleasantly surprised because I was like, is this really how he wins her over, just by like figuring out a game plan for like tricking her?
Yep.
And I was so pleasantly surprised that that's not how that works. And it was like,
Yeah.
eventually, just by being a better human being, he
Yep.
figures it out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It is
Yeah, it's
weird.
very sweet.
Yeah, it is just weird that at some point, like in the fake version, who does he say? He says to Nancy, who's another woman in town, that he like is like, I'm gonna trick her into sleeping with me. He tells her not only that he loves her, that he wants to marry her, and like that's it for Nancy. You know what I mean? With this guy she
Yeah.
just met that day. Another bad proposal on Movies Watch Before You Die.
Another bad one.
Yeah,
Yep.
not the best. Rita, I do like that he tries to use I love you, and she's like, no, you don't. You barely know me.
Yeah.
But that's why it did feel weird. And I think it's just more for us in the movie because we've seen the progression of him, that he says I love you at the end, and she's not like, "Ooh, you're a creep." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, it's funny because you know what movie is sort of like this? It's sort of a time loop, but not really. 51st Dates, where it's more just a
Yeah.
memory loop.
Yeah. Yeah. But only for one character. Well, I guess it's the same in this one too.
Yeah. I did enjoy it. Like if I was comparing it to 51st Dates, is it like as sweet as that movie? No, because Rita doesn't get to be that much of a character, it feels like at
Yeah.
times. Like Rita
Yeah.
is really just, how much has Phil grown? Is he worthy of Rita yet? You know what I mean?
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think my
I
favorite
agree.
character in the movie is Ned Ryerson, though.
Of course. Everybody's favorite character is Ned Ryerson.
Put some respect on
Okay.
Stephen Tobolowsky's name.
Let's talk about this. Oh my God, the idea I had just left my brain. Oh boy. I was going to say that we needed to talk about Chris Elliott.
I thought he was gonna have more to do.
Okay. But like just like generally, isn't he great? We love
Generally,
him.
great. That's why I
Great.
was hoping he'd have more to do because I really like Chris Elliott.
Yeah.
I did like and felt so bad when Phil goes up for like the eligible bachelor auction thing, and
Yeah, yeah.
the winning bid is, Phil for like $339.88 or something.
Yep.
And then poor Chris Elliott goes up there and it's a quarter. I was
A
like,
quarter.
oh,
Yep.
which
But like
undervaluing Chris Elliott, overvaluing Bill Murray.
yeah, but I just really like that gag. Like, I think it's so good. I also thought it was so sweet. Okay, two moments that make me teary-eyed. Number one, when they're laying in bed and Rita falls asleep and he's like confessing his love to her, and he's like, the moment I saw you, I knew that like I wanted to hold you and I want to do whatever it takes to be good enough for you. So sweet. Number two, when she bids every dime she has on him. So sweet.
I definitely don't think that I got teary-eyed at any time, but I did find that moment so sweet in bed. I think the only difference I would make is like I wish it was more, if I've learned anything, it's that I know that, I want to hold you, or you're the person I want to hold. Because we know that's not how he felt the first time he saw her. He was still a pig at that time. Like, we know what Phil was thinking about Rita the first time he saw her. Just saying.
I mean, maybe, but
Which is
maybe
part of
not.
the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you notice the Harold Ramis
The cameo?
cameo? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
He was the doctor, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I do like the one horse town doctor and the one horse town psychologist who's like,
Yeah.
well, I've got an alcoholic now. Like I was like, good for him.
Yeah. So funny. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have like a ton more to say. I just think that that is such a great, silly little story with a nice message, and it's quick and it makes you chuckle.
Yeah, you know what was a really funny moment for me, and it was more Bill Murray's delivery than like it being such a funny joke is obviously if he's learned something, you know, all these times he's doing these things, he's learned everything. At the end, we learn he literally knows everything about everyone in this town by this point.
Yeah.
But he's watching Jeopardy with all the people at the bed and breakfast. And it's him just knowing every single answer. And before the question is done, he looks at Mrs. Lancaster, the owner, and goes, "What is the roan?" And like you just hear them saying it afterwards, and he's just staring at her, and it was just really funny.
It's so good. He is so good at being hopeless.
Yeah. He's very good. He's good at negativity. That's what Bill Murray is good at.
Yeah. Yeah. He and I both.
I also really like him driving with the groundhog. One, because I could tell he's actually driving with a fucking groundhog. And two, his dialogue during that is so funny when he goes, "They're chasing us. Come on, make it fun." Or when he goes, "Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry." To the groundhog.
It's so good.
Yeah, I think that might be all like the really standout stuff that I have. Is it time for facts?
Facts, or is it time for our new segment?
What did we do first last time? Did we do our new segment first last time? I think we did.
Okay, let's do it.
Totally pitching?
Totally pitching.
Here's my quick pitch.
Pitch me hard.
Here's the pitch.
And pitch!
You just pitch?
I don't need to hear the pitch.
I'm a pitch. I'm a lover.
Oh, God, that was terrible.
Sorry.
Gab, you go first. It's your movie, your pitch.
All right, Dylan. Well, listen, I don't mean to be redundant, but I'm going to be. And I promise this is the last time, but it was too good. So mine will be a sitcom. Sorry. Are you mad?
Calm down. It's okay. I'm not mad.
Okay. It's going to be a sitcom. It will be written and directed by Larry David. Starring
Larry David would be good for this.
Yes, I know. It's called What Do You Mean It's Groundhog Day? And it stars Jerry Seinfeld as Phil Connors. Julia Julia Gulia. Louia. Please help me.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Her as Rita. And oh God, what's his name? What's Kramer's real name?
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards as the cameraman. What do you mean it's Groundhog Day?
I think you've made a huge mistake here. Because think Larry David should be playing your main character.
Oh, I see. Can he write, direct, and star? I mean, I guess so, right?
Of course
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah.
You can have Jeff Garland be the cameraman then.
Okay, we're on to something then. And then Cheryl Hines is. The thing is,
Cheryl Hines partly wants to make it Susie Essman so that she can be more like, "What the fuck do you mean you're in love with me? You don't fucking love me, Larry."
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. This was all born of realizing how much Annie McDowell kind of had like a Julia Louis-Dreyfus, look, I did it, vibe in this movie.
It's the
like
hair.
It's the hair. Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
hair.
But that's where I was like, what's the deal with groundhogs? You know?
So I know what's playing on the radio now every time he wakes up. Boom, ba-doom, boom, 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 boom.
Exactly. Yep. All right. So anyway, that's my pitch. Sorry, it sucks. Go ahead. What's yours?
Okay. I am turning this into, it's also a series, but this is an anime.
I hate it.
You're not going to. What got Phil out of the time loop?
I don't. Are you asking or telling?
I'm asking.
I don't know.
You do know. You know what got Phil out of the time loop? Appeasing the devil that is Ned Ryerson, because it is once he bought his insurance through Ned that he was finally able to escape the time loop. Ned Ryerson is going to be the devil in this anime series, and he is planning the apocalypse of the world. So in order for Phil to save Rita and the entirety of planet Earth, he has to study, he has to train, he has to build his body and his mind to first defeat Ned's ultimate boss, the Groundhog, and then break free so he can fight Ned himself to take back the world.
You know what? I love it. Wouldn't watch it, but I bet Corey would because it sounds like Dragon Ball Z.
You know what? It would be awesome.
Okay, well, good. I'm happy for you. Yeah, I think you won that one.
Thank you. I think I did too.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember
You
last
can't
week when
just
I
keep
said
putting
I
the
won?
casts of television series into every
Yeah, but
one, Gab.
it's a plug and play, Dill. It's a plug and play.
I know, but I can't have Michael Bay direct every movie we do. You can't have the cast of a beloved sitcom in every one.
Fine.
If we
Next
come
week
back
will
next
be
week
something
and
different.
it's Kevin James and Leia Remini, I'm going to be very upset.
Fine, that's fair. Also, that show rules. I will never stop watching that show. King of
That
Queens.
is the ultimate background show because that's a show that is it's so easy to have on just like, I haven't had cable in so long. But when I did, if you just threw on like Pix 11 and it was like King of Queens is there, that was fine.
Fuck yeah. All right. I love that. Okay. Now let's go to the facts.
Let's get to them.
I want the truth!
Face the facts, ducks.
Facts have no place with an organized religion.
Let's start with our ratings. On Rotten Tomatoes Tomato Meter, it has 94% certified fresh, an average rating of 7.9 out of 10, 136 fresh reviews, and 9 rotten. The audience score is 88% with an average rating of 4.2 out of 5. IMDb, it has an 8 out of 10 exactly. It had a budget of $14.6 million. It grossed $71.1 million.
Great success.
The critics' consensus was that like a very lazy Borat?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That was Borat, but he's already taken sleeping pills. Smart, sweet, and inventive, Groundhog Day highlights Murray's dramatic gifts while still leaving plenty of room for laughs. I'm thinking like highlights Murray's dramatic gifts, but this is as close as Bill Murray ever got to like your Punch Drunk Love or Truman Show, where it's like comedian makes good on dramatic ability.
Yeah.
Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars. The film is lovable and sweet. David Denby from the New York Magazine and Vulture. Groundhog Day might have been a mere gimmick movie, but it isn't. It's something better. A gentle fantasy of both paralysis and liberation. David Nuzair from Real Film Reviews. The film's forgettable, padded out nature confirms its place as a promising yet disposable high concept comedy. Which it's not like that harsh. I can understand it. I don't know. At least he wasn't a total dick about it.
Yeah. Thanks for being kind of decent.
Noel Taylor from Ottawa Citizen. Groundhog Day goes nowhere very slowly.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
I mean, I think the point is he goes nowhere for a long time.
Yeah.
Noel. Is it Noel or Noel? It's Noel.
Noel, for sure.
Okay. But there is an L. It's at the end.
Ha 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 ha. Hurry up, I'm hungry.
Jeffrey Gans from Boston Phoenix. It's a promising idea, but scriptwriters Danny Rubin and Harold Ramis seem to have no idea what a better Bill Murray would look like. In short, he becomes more cynical and manipulative than ever. Which I don't think is true. I'm like, did you miss the last like 15 minutes?
Yeah, you weren't paying very close attention.
Yeah. You want to hear the Letterboxd reviews?
Please.
Zach AM seemed a bit repetitive.
Good. Very good.
Will Sloan, faced with reliving the same day for eternity, Bill Murray becomes a sexual predator, then a nihilist, then an all right guy.
Yeah.
You know what? Kind of accurate.
Yeah.
This one's from San. Can we all agree that the man cheering and clapping every single time the plates fell was just the worst?
Oh yeah. I completely agree.
There's nothing worse than that, or the person who's like, party foul, asshole. I'm like, we're not.
Oh yeah.
We're not 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 20. More like 13.
Yeah. And the last one from Melon B. I'm like Phil, but without the lube or a girlfriend.
Okay,
I
good.
I like that one. I'm like, oh, so you're a dick.
Yeah, that's good.
I have a bunch of facts. So first, let's get to the directed. Directed by Harold Ramis, who also directed Caddyshack, Vacation, and Analyze This and Analyze That. The screenplay was by Danny Rubin and Harold Ramis, who also wrote Hear No Evil, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and Animal House. Harold Ramis is, carrying the weight for most of those.
Yeah.
But Danny Rubin, I believe this was his first script. So I think that's pretty impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
Stars Bill Murray as Phil, who you might know from Zombieland, Ghostbusters, and Garfield. Annie McDowell as Rita, who you may know from Magic Mike XXL, Multiplicity, and Sex Lies and Videotape.
Okay.
Those are literally the things I know her from. Chris Elliott as Larry, who you may know from Schitt's Creek, There's Something About Mary, and Scary Movie 2. Stephen Tobolowsky as Ned Ryerson. Ned Ryerson.
Ned
Can
the
you give me your
head.
best Ned Ryerson?
No.
Boo. Who you may know from Freaky Friday, Mississippi Burning, and Silicon Valley. And lastly, Brian Doyle-Murray as Buster, which I never saw them say his actual name. I guess
Oh
his
yeah,
name's
they say his
Buster.
name.
They do?
Buster. Yeah, they
Oh.
do. Multiple times.
Who you may know from Vacation, Christmas Vacation, and JFK.
And also SpongeBob, the Flying Dutchman.
Oh,
I'll
shit.
give
I
you my
forgot
best
that
Flying
scene.
Dutchman.
I'm the Flying Dutchman.
Oh, yours is good.
Was it really?
Yeah, very
Well, thank you.
impressive.
We got some fun facts now. In Chicago, Groundhog Day has also been renamed Harold Ramis Day.
Aw.
I really like this actually. Danny Rubin's original ending had Phil waking up on February 3rd with Rita, who was not excited to wake up because she's been repeating February 3rd.
Oh, that's funny.
I actually thought that was like a cool, like twisty ending.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? I feel like that would be too much.
Yeah, by that point, the audience wants the relief of the happy ending in their romantic comedy or comedy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really like it as an idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Bill Murray was twice bitten by the groundhog during shooting, and he had to have anti-rabies injections because the bites were severe and threw the glove on his hand.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's actually, when the groundhog is on the steering wheel, he's trying to hold it down from crawling away.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
According to Harold Ramis, most of the time when he tried to explain a scene to Bill Murray, Murray would interrupt and ask, "Just tell me, good Phil or bad Phil?"
Yeah.
Which sounds like an oversimplification, but apparently Bill Murray and Harold Ramis did not have a good time working together making this movie. This was the 6th movie they made together, and it's famously the final time they worked together because they did not have a good time. I guess Bill Murray was going through his first divorce when they made the movie and was not fun to be around.
That
Allegedly.
sucks. Yeah. First of all, anybody who's mean to Harold Ramis, not good in my book. That sucks. But do you remember when this was on Broadway?
Nope.
Yep, Groundhog Day the musical, not that long ago.
Was it good?
I didn't see it. Presumably no. It's not, currently on Broadway.
I mean, not everything can last for 30 years on Broadway.
Yeah, but Cats did. I mean, come on.
Yeah, people love that shit.
Yeah, not for me.
Not for me.
Anyway, continue.
The film was not filmed in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, but in Woodstock, Illinois, which very much now has tried to make themselves like, with Groundhog Day town.
Oh, God.
They have like a sign for where the pothole was that Phil steps in.
So stupid. Okay.
They hold their own Groundhog Day ceremony every year now.
Oh.
Among the special features, Harold Ramis states that the original idea was for Phil to live February 2nd for about 10,000 years. Later, he says that Phil probably lived the same day for about 10 years.
10 years. That's so insane.
In the film, we see 38 to 40 days actually depicted partially or fully.
I would have thought it was closer to like 30 days, not 10 years.
Apparently, another thing that was in the script was the idea of him keeping track of time by reading one page in the bed and breakfast library every single day. And there are like, rows of books. And we would see him start, and then we would see him one day finish the last book in the library and just walk back to the very first book. And apparently the studio was like very upset, and they were like, "That's too long." And like, I think Harold Ramis was like, "Well, how long do you want it to be?" And they're like, 2 weeks is good. So he just took out like them mentioning how long it actually had been, because I do like that a person can watch it and you rightfully thought it was like, maybe it's like 30 days, and somebody can watch it and
honestly,
be like,
2 weeks sounds right.
yeah, and somebody else can watch it and be like 10,000 years. You know what I mean? You really don't know. Because he has mastered French and the piano and knows everyone's lives and knows all the Jeopardy answers now. So
True.
Who knows?
Yeah.
When the piano is being played at an hour and 19 minutes in, Bill Murray is actually playing. He does not read music, but he learned that much of the song by ear.
I like that.
Yeah. In the course of the film, Phil Connors endures all of the 5 stages of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Danny Rubin actually took Kubler-Ross as a model for 5 stages of death and dying, and we use them as a template for Murray's progress.
That tracks.
The Swedish title of the movie translates as Monday the Entire Week.
That's very funny.
Don't you sometimes feel like it's a Monday the entire week?
Oh boy, do I
Yeah.
ever. Currently.
The German title of the movie, Untäglich grad das Murmeltier.
Oh boy.
Germaniacs, let me know how it did.
Hold on. Wait, can you actually hold on? No, it's not worth it. I want you to say, will you cut that clip and send it to me?
Why?
Because my friends speak German and I just want them to laugh at you.
Oh, that sounds fine. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Which can be translated as the groundhog greets every day.
Oh boy.
It has been adapted in Germany as a humorous proverb, which is often used when something is frequently repeated, especially annoying or awkward things. So I do like the idea that in Germany, they're just like, that groundhog greets every day. Like, that's just a
Yeah.
thing.
Right. They don't have Groundhog Day, obviously. That's very American.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah. Okay.
The first day when Phil realizes he's in the loop, he walks out the front door and asks a passerby, "Excuse me, where's everybody going?" The passerby replies, "To Gobbler's Knob, it's Groundhog Day." The passerby is later the piano teacher.
Oh, yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
Also, when he's first in the hospital with the elderly guy, the homeless man, you see a little boy in the background with a broken leg. It's the little boy that he saves out of the tree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's all the facts I got.
Well then, Dylan, I guess we know what time it is.
It's mail time.
Do or do not. There is no try.
The guilty will be punished.
Sentence is death.
Gab, this was your movie. Why don't you give me your verdict?
Dylan, I fucking love this movie. It is not a movie that you need to watch every year. It is not a movie that you need to watch religiously, but it delivers every time. It's sweet, it's funny, it runs the gamut of emotions. If you love negativity, if you love, I don't know where I'm going with this. If you love, being nihilistic, if you love, it's got something for everyone. It is very funny. We can all relate to being Bill Murray. I like to say that you can always tell when somebody at work has a lot of "I don't want to be here" energy. And to me, it's hilarious when someone is just giving off "I don't want to be here" energy. And Bill Murray is given it from top to bottom until he finally comes around. And it's great to see. It does make me laugh. I probably don't think it's a great musical, but it works in this context. Dylan,
Oh,
I told you it was
on
a musical on Broadway.
Okay, I was like, did I miss a song?
No. So why don't you now, after saying all these nice things about it, tell me how much you fucking hated it, you dumb piece of shit.
Well, first of all, I totally just thought of another tagline that would work for this movie. What would you do with eternity?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
That should be a new thing. We got to make our own taglines.
Yeah.
We can't do a
Okay.
worse job. But I would say I didn't find it like the funniest movie I've ever seen, but I really was shocked at how much I ended up enjoying Bill Murray's journey of going from like total dickhead to actual good person. Um, I think I also found it very relatable in that sense that you really do see him go through everything that at some point any person would go through all of these things. You know what I mean? Because you know what? If you can do anything, at some point you will try everything. Like at some point he's like, "Can I just drive on the railroad tracks?" Sure, why not? Let me try.
Yeah.
I was very, very pleasantly surprised how much I liked it because just like you went into Jerry Maguire hating Tom Cruise, I went into this being like, Bill Murray, yeah, not a fan. So it's
Yep.
gonna have to get over that hump. And you know what? It made it over that hump. And to me, it's a movie to watch before you die.
Yes. 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 It's so good.
Also, I didn't put this in the fun facts, but I'm pretty sure there's a guy on Letterboxd who watches this movie every single day. Because there's a guy who like puts a review every time. He's like, day 365 watching Groundhog Day every day. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh boy, that is horrifying.
I aspire
But
to have that much time.
yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
it's such a good movie. It's simple. It doesn't take a lot of brain power. It's funny. There's no dead dogs. I love it. I think it's a great film. Classic. Happy recent Groundhog Day. Only 6 more weeks of winter and then spring, early spring. How do you feel about that?
Soon we'll be in a forever winter and forever summer. We're losing spring and fall, and they're my favorites.
Yeah, I agree with that, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to tell people where they can find us.
You can find us at Ned Ryerson. He's the MVP of this movie.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. I love when Bill Murray just rocks him in the face.
Wait, better than that is when he just hugs him and he's like, "Where are you going? Can you cancel what your plans are?"
It's so good. It's just like,
I'm sorry. Last thing, I forgot it in the fun facts. That is an improvised moment. He told Stephen Tobolowsky, he was like, "I'm going to try something on this one," and he went up to him and hugged him, and he like tried to hang out with him. And what a great job by the other actor, Stephen Tobolowsky, to like totally stay committed in the scene And to me, that's like my favorite part when he's like, I gotta go. And he does his weird run away.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I love
another it's another happy ending. Just like
Yeah.
Groundhog Day in a Movies Watch Before You Die episode. Gab, why don't you tell me where the people can find us?
Well, Dylan, they can email us at movies-to-watch-before-you-die@gmail.com. They can leave a voice note at anchor.fm/movies to watch. They can head to the link tree in the link below or
In
something.
the description below. You're close enough.
Sure. Where they can find our friends at the Hall of Pods Podcasting Network. They can find my Venmo and other things that are of major importance. They can also, yeah, I don't know. I think that's it.
Also, if you need insurance, in the link tree below is Ned Ryerson's personal insurance agency.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And lastly, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, good luck with the week ahead. May it not be Monday the entire week for you.
Yeah, I hope the groundhog doesn't greet daily or whatever.
It sounds like the name of a bad James Bond parody. The groundhog greets every day.
It does. Oh man. All right. Listen, I'm happy. I'm proud of you. I think we're doing a good job.
Thank you for your affirmations. Come back next week when we do something else.
Anything else?
What would you do if you were stuck in one place and every day was exactly the same and nothing that you did mattered?
That about sums it up for me.